Nicholas,
hey,
who is, by the way, who is, by the way, legally blind.
Yes, there have been studies linking masturbation to prostate cancer.
A lot of guys are in big trouble out there.
Well, that's maybe true.
That it's not as physical as people might think, that a lot of it's just kind of like the look or the way you carry yourself, that people don't mess with you, that's actually more than just beating somebody up.
Yes, like I block it and I take, like this. And
when you really study great periods that changed the history of mankind, the main thing that really transformed them was
Today, Nicholas Tana, the director of Sticky, a documentary about one of the last taboos, self-pleasure, is here. And then martial arts expert Jem tells you why the way you carry yourself may be more important than muscles. And later in the show, the guy behind the Yes After Yesterday. Is it the new secret? But up first, Nicholas Tana. Great to have you here today, Nicholas.
Hey, you're willing to shake my hand.
Who is, by the way, legally blind.
Yes, that's what I've been told, but you know what? The hands are the eyes of darkness.
We're in trouble today, that's all I know. So, but where does that come from? There is such a taboo about the whole subject.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the few things you can say these days, or not say, to shock people, probably.
It actually is very shocking for some people, especially when they find out I'm doing this. It's
doing what?
we love
the documentary, right?
Yeah. Absolutely, the documentary. When they learn about the subject, they think at first the giggles come out.
Sure.
And it's because I think there's a certain element that's funny about anything that's pleasurable. I mean, we laugh at someone dancing by themselves, but why? Why do we laugh about something that's such a natural subject? I mean, statistically, most people masturbate. And then there's rumors that those that say they don't do anyway, right? But where does
the ones who do and the ones who lie.
Right, exactly. There's two types. But why do people laugh? Why does it make us laugh? Why does it make you laugh?
But I didn't even know what it was until you told me. But there is such it's still a religious stigma, I think. I mean, is it a sin? I don't know. I'm not Catholic, but is it a sin? It's probably a sin, isn't it?
That's an interesting question, because if you look at, or as I like to say, a sticky subject, because if we look at four major religions, which we covered in the documentary in terms of interviews, I interviewed a Buddhist monk, a Catholic priest, an Islamic imam to cover Islam, and then a rabbi. And amongst the major religions, half of them said it was a sin, the other half said it wasn't. So even amongst our major religions, there's a question as to the morality of masturbation.
But you can just go and confess. But then if you're confessing all the time, well, here we go.
Well, and to go back to the question as to what's masturbation, why is masturbation funny? I think it makes people laugh because they're uncomfortable. And I think there's a level of uncomfort to anything that involves pleasure, that is surrounding sexual pleasure, particularly. But where does that come from? Well, there's a lot of history on that. In fact, some of the history predates the Catholic story of Onan and the idea of masturbation leading to sin, or being a form of sin.
And there are all the anecdotes, or what I want to say, the old wives' story. What am I trying to say? The urban legends about what happens. So, whether from blindness to the palms to
madness.
Madness.
Makes you insane. Yeah. Actually, it was sort of the. Back in the 1700s, in particular, masturbation was the go-to for anything, any kind of disease. It was believed it can cause almost anything. Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised the bubonic plague wasn't attributed to masturbation.
But yet, actually, I almost said that jokingly, but there have been some studies that suggest there could be a link to cancer.
Yes, actually, there have been studies linking masturbation to prostate cancer. There are 3 studies done in, I believe, the last 7 or 8 years.
A lot of guys are in big trouble.
Well, that's maybe true, because the most recent study, I think it was 2009, actually showed a positive correlation, so that masturbation could cause prostate cancer, while the 2 previous ones indicated the opposite, that masturbation can actually help prevent prostate cancer. So again, why are we getting contrary
Everybody
studies?
wants to know if there's a cure.
And yeah, why this confusion though? You know, and I think that's
and
a
the study
serious
that I
subject.
saw on WebMD, I mean, I just did a quick look up, and it said something was like age-related, that for younger guys they thought it could cause cancer, but for older guys it could actually reduce the risk.
Yes.
And I don't know if there was a cancer risk for women, but obviously it wasn't probably prostate cancer, which you know, so.
Absolutely. And it makes me wonder whether that study is accurate or not, and how they're doing these studies, because, you know, when people, you know, and how do they really do these studies? I mean, people, you know, people who volunteers, and are they being honest? You know?
You have to look into the methodology behind this.
Exactly.
But again, it is still such a touchy subject that I noticed in your documentary that you have Dr. Joycelyn Edwards was in there, who was actually...
Yeah, Dr. Joycelyn Elders, who was the former Surgeon General under the Clinton administration, a rather liberal president, and she was forced to resign. So we interviewed her and got her take on that, and it was because of her comments at an AIDS conference. Ironically, she was talking about the need or options to prevent AIDS and the spread of AIDS, and one of which was a sort of safer than safe sex, masturbation. And for that,
But
she
not
was
good for
forced
your
to
job.
resign. Yeah, obviously not good for one's job, especially, you know. And then there was Bill Clinton, who was president at the time, who, of course, doesn't do much
Straight and
sex. He's pretty straight. But I think he was under a lot of pressure at the time from the Christian right because of that situation with Monica Lewinsky, and that might have had some effect on it too. But still, clearly there is a stigma, and it's a negative one. In the news recently, the O'Donnell comments on masturbation that came back to haunt her politically, where she had said, I believe it was at an MTV show on sex, that you know, masturbation was sort of a bad thing. So yeah, you can do a little Google search on that. It was everywhere in the news not long ago. And then Masturbating Bear on the Conan O'Brien show caused a lot of controversy for her.
Yeah, what was I don't watch Conan, so I don't know what that was all. Do I want to know what that was all about?
You should probably see it. It's a bear, kind of like Dancing Bear back in the Captain Kangaroo days, but he's not dancing, unless you go with the Billy Idol song, Dancing with Yourself.
So you can do that on TV. So, I don't know.
We can do lots of things on TV. I think it was my sister who told me recently that your documentary has hope, because they seem to be doing a lot of that on that show. There's a show with gladiators or Romans, or they're masturbating running.
Well, I was surprised even that HBO had done that show 20 years ago, the documentary about just with naked guys talking about.
Yes, they had a lot of naked men. I'm trying to remember the title. It might have been Private Dicks, but I think they started with breasts and went to penises. And yes, an interesting where they had them naked on camera talking about issues around sexuality, and I think that got a lot of attention.
Well, you know, the other thing that's come up in the news some lately is that there's even been a question, I've heard a couple of articles or even talk shows, I think, talking about whether for some guys it's kind of replacing dating, or maybe diminishing their desire and go out and get a date. They'd rather sit home and watch porn on the internet and whatever may go along with that.
Right.
And so is there a, assuming you don't think it's a deadly sin to begin with, I mean, is there a downside to, I mean, are people, is there an addiction, or, you know, I don't,
Is there possible dangers to masturbation? Well, you know, that's a good point. And in doing this documentary, I try hard, although it is difficult. I try hard to keep an even keel. I try to have a dialogue and ask questions without taking a side. And to answer your question, I believe you're talking about SAD, the sexual ADD, sort of. There was a study that was done apparently on men that are masturbating more because of porn and internet porn, and then becoming addicted to it and not being satisfied with their mates, etc. Again, the question is, how was that study done? Is it accurate? You know, and my caution would be, is it just really that old fear about masturbation that comes up?
Well, you sign up for the study and tell us then next time how they did it. We'll find out the methodology.
You know, I did speak with Morgan Spurlock on the phone, and he's a fan of this documentary of Supersize meat fame. You know, he does seem to put himself in the documentary, so maybe if I can get him to do a test.
Well, thank you very much. Nicholas Tana, the documentary documentary is Sticky.
Yes. I'm glad you're willing to shake my hand.
I know, I was before I looked at you, I was like, well, I'm sure we'll be hearing more about this, so we'll stay tuned for this. And actually, maybe you can come back when it's done and we've had a chance to watch it too. So
It'll be much more climactic.
we will be right back with Jeb. And we are back. Joining me now is Jem, a martial arts expert and actor from France. Great to have you here today,
Hi,
Jem.
how you doing, Greg?
So you made the big move to Hollywood, huh?
Oh yeah, since 2.5 right now.
And you've actually, although you're an actor yourself and have an acting or a martial arts background,
Yeah, martial arts background, yeah.
You were also a bodyguard though for various celebrities.
Yes, for a lot of celebrities from different countries, but most of the time America. So it's
And I was looking at the pictures you showed me of you with all the celebrities you met in Paris.
Yeah, so for me it's a great because when you work with them, and then I forgot. Yeah, it will be interesting maybe one day to be an actor. And it's funny because now, 10 years later, I'm on it. So.
And you're obviously a big guy. You're what, 6'3"?
6'3", 242 pounds.
Okay, so you don't look like the kind of person you want to mess with anyway. but I thought it was interesting when we talked on the phone. Though,
Yes.
You said though that a lot of it, that it's not as physical as people might think. That a lot of it's just kind of like the look or the way you carry yourself. That people don't mess with you. That's actually more than just beating somebody up. It's just like the
Yes, like I said, it's just an illusion. Muscle don't really have during the situation. You need to be technical and just do the right things during the situation.
So
yeah.
speak softly and carry a big stick, as we say.
Yeah. Yes.
But can you give an example of how in a real life situation that might work, where instead of just beating the crap out of somebody, you might just...
Yeah, on you. You want me to try on you or just explain the story?
Well, why don't you start with a story, and then you can demonstrate on me once I hear the story.
Yes, I'm going to choose a story I was with the girls band Space Girl, and at this time they were very famous in Europe, England,
Oh, sure, the
France,
Spice Girls.
Space Girl, yeah, with Millie B, and a lot of people around them, trying to get in the building, and people really it was crazy, and one of them tried just have a autograph or something, but he had a pen, but his pen wasn't like oh, I want an autograph. It was more like that.
Oh, wow.
So one of the bodyguard just did his job because he protect the client, okay, and he received the pen in his his mouth, yeah, but he protect the client, he protect one of them, and the situation is you need to respond already, and make sure nobody get hurt.
So put your face in the way of the pen, is that it?
Yes, yes, exactly, because you need to do your job, but yeah, you need to be careful as well about the public because you can really hurt them for no reason.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to really be restrained, because what people, at least in America, you'd be sued
you have
or
a license
something,
to do bodyguard,
yeah.
but you need to careful because sometimes you can carry a gun or carry, or just use your hands. But
you said it's a small percentage of time, so
yeah,
you actually have to...
yeah. So and like I said, the thing is you need to be aware when something happen, and just.
Well, why don't you show me a few techniques, though, if you actually do have to intervene, if it's not just enough to say, cut it out, or give them a look.
Yeah, like if you slap me with this hand, we have an argument together, so I block it, and I take a note like this, and beginning like that, and I'm sure with that, you're...
slap you again. But apparently that doesn't work with women. You said that women are dangerous. Right?
Women are dangerous. Dangerous, yeah.
Can you tell us the story about the special ops woman?
Yeah. The story, was with a woman. Yeah, the situation was like training with police, and she kicked me very low, if you know what I mean, and really with his pound on her foot, and the first kick was like big shock.
So you punched her in the head?
No, because she's a woman, and no, I kick very low, but her foot.
But now,
Yeah.
at what point, okay, so you cut her some slack because she's a woman,
Yeah.
but at what point would you stop being nice? Have you ever had to stop being nice, or do you always...
Me, if
Yeah.
I'm nice?
Well, I mean, you know, as a woman, have you ever had to just like go after a woman full force, or...
Yeah, but you need just to respect, for me, you know, men and women. But it's the same on the situation. If they're aggressive, they're aggressive. Female or male, for me, it's the same. But you need to just your target and not like hurt someone for no reason. You know, like just
Now, I know...
do properly.
But your background, you know a lot about Krav Maga.
Krav Maga, boxing, Thai boxing is my passion because it's a real martial art.
And how did you get into this? Did you start as a kid, or...?
Yes. I start with judo, karate, and then boxing, Krav Maga, and more. It was more. I learned more by myself as well. You know, I think it was in my blood.
Oh, okay.
In my blood.
And you've used some in the acting too, though, right?
Yes, I came in LA for that. So I'm in Los Angeles since last May, and I signed with a big agency. And I'm doing good. I'm glad, and I'm Screen Actor Guild since 2 years, and I'm on movie 13 with Mickey Rourke, Jason Statham. So I start
what
with
did you do
action
in
movie.
that?
I'm Ben Gazzara bodyguard. So I'm glad because it will be the last movie for Ben Gazzara because he's 80 years old. So it was an amazing experience with him. I learned like every second on set with him. So.
And I know you told me there were some other roles that I don't know if they're announced yet, but at least you're up for a few things. That,
Yeah, more for TV, like a Chuck on ABC, and some soon, you know, coming up. Yeah.
And you also work with some celebrities, or train some celebrities?
Yes.
Is that,
I trained Gilles Marini. He did Dancing with the Stars 2 years ago, and he's doing Brother and Sister. He played a French guy, Luc, the handsome guy, and we're going to do soon an action trailer because he's going to start action movies soon, and we're not working together, and so right now, do help him for his workout, boxing, and sometimes I cook for him as well, just to
Well, being French, you got to know how to cook, right?
Of course,
You know?
And
they all do, all the French. Well, like little kids go around, they have restaurants. I don't know.
and you need to be healthy, you know, and so the basic is the food. So.
And your name has a good flow to it. I know you go by Jem, but your real name is Jean-Marc Danois, right?
Jean-Marc Danois, yes. Jean-Marc Danois is my real name, and my name is Jem like the rock.
Well, thank you very much, Jem. Good luck with everything.
You're welcome.
And I should mention too, you have a street fight coming up, though, or something.
Yes, not a street fight.
Wait, I don't want to get the cops involved.
Yeah,
but
it's for the Thai New Year's days.
Okay.
So it will be in April. Actually, for my birthday, April 3rd, and then coming up, I think this year 4 or 5 Muay Thai fights. And just careful because my agent will be mad if I miss a little bit my face. So, but
just go for the low blows.
Yeah, and get ready for audition and.
Well, thanks a million, and good luck with that. And we will be right back.
Thank you.
And we are back. Joining me now is James Tarantin. He's author of The Yes After Yesterday. Great to have you here today, James.
Thank you very much, Greg, for having me on your show.
So I called it this in the intro, I call it kind of a new take on The Secret. Is that fair or not? Is it a long...
I believe it's not a new take on The Secret. I believe that The Yes After Yesterday is a non-fiction, spiritual, philosophical book with adventure, thrill elements. And the concept here is to take a spiritual odyssey, cross-cultural story that I hope will appeal to all people, and from that present the equation. And the equation is, again, like a philosophical theory in the format of a scientific formula which explains the two primal forces, the Main one is the interaction of forces in the universe, and the second from that is the science of success.
And I think in one interview you called it the flow of energy.
The flow of energy, you're right.
So, yeah.
It's, I see you made your research.
I'll write the foreword to the book.
But no, the flow of energy and the interaction of forces are absolutely the same meaning. There's no difference.
Now, pardon by making the comparison again, but I think The Secret had the law of attraction. But in your case, you call it the equation. Is that
The
that's
equation,
kind of
yeah.
what you're-
And
so what is the equation?
The only reason, again, without saying the equation, but the equation here is the ability to transform whenever we are tackled with a tragedy. After the research that I've done for a long time, I found out that when you really study great periods that changed the history of mankind or brought regular people to become great and be seen as legends, the main thing that really transformed them and led them reach enlightenment was when they were tackled with a tragedy or pain, and they just had that ability to transform from it. So the equation tries to take several powers that are in the universe and put them into one truthful equation that from that people can draw knowledge how to really reach their own destiny. So that's the main line of the equation.
Okay, and now I know this is a book, but there's also a movie side
You're
to
right.
it.
You're right. The reason why, because the book is not just like a guiding book. It also has a story, and the story is the story of a young, brave lad who travels all over the globe to discover life's purpose and his own future.
Is this you?
Let's say to some level, but the idea here, I believe that kind of story hits the right note for many people, because when you want to bring people a message, the best way is always to find the right story that from that they can see the message, not just to write the message like that. And I believe that because of that story and the way it's written and the way the psychological evolution of the characters, I believe will fit tremendously for a movie to be in the theaters worldwide.
I noticed one quote I think you had on your website or in one of the videos you said, like people don't want another loose theory or something,
You're
they
right.
want a scientific principle. But so what would you say to people who think, maybe it sounds kind of new age or kind of nebulous or what, since you mentioned the philosophical side of it.
Again, the book tries to take the equation and explain that from many points of view, from economics, from spirituality, from philosophy, from science, from religion, from biographies, from human evolution, and taking all these realms and explain the equation, not just from a spiritual standpoint, think positively or work hard and good luck. It's not like that. It's a much more, it's a really a dense and comprehensive.
Well, I thought the secret was if you think about it, if you want think you want a lot of money, you get a lot of money or something, or is that it? If you think it, well, I would say it's like Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. If you think it, feel it, want it, then it's real. You are what you feel. That's a line from the. Anyway.
But the again, concerning so our main goal right now is we launched. I had the honor to team up with 25 great young passionate people, and one guy is here. His name is Rafael Moreno.
He's been on the show before.
A dear brother of mine, and we teamed up to launch a worldwide campaign on the web in order to promote the Yes After Yesterday. And as of now, we have 250,000 views on YouTube, and we have 8,000 followers on Twitter, and we already raised $20,000 from 45 different countries. And so we really do well.
I was checking out some of the websites when you first mentioned the book to me, and it's interesting. I didn't realize that, but there are these. It's kind of an innovative way to use social media or new media. Social media to. There were like fundraising campaigns on the internet for all kinds of various things, actually, like independent projects for movies or books or whatever.
You're right.
That you can.
You're right. And I believe that the site that we are on is called Indiegogo.com, and it's a great site. And as of now, we are number one from all the 17,000 projects there. If I'm not mistaken, we are like the top 10 of all time.
So they give you a certain amount of time. And
you have 90 days to raise the money, and we raise 20. We need 30 more. And again, the only reason why, to be able to self-publish the book, the money is not going for us, but to be able to self-publish the book worldwide. And because we really believe that this cause is greater than ourselves, and I believe that, the main theme also of the book is that success is indivisible. The success of anyone, anywhere in the world, whether it's a poor guy in Africa, is the success of a rich guy in China. So we believe that by us being successful with that book, will give people the opportunity to be successful with their own lives. So it's a cycle that, one good decision leads to the other, and so on and so forth.
So what drew you to this? I mean, what's your own background?
What drew me to that was my aunt died, and that's the beauty of it, is that my aunt died on January 1st of 2001, 1/1/2001, and and that really inspired me to take responsibility, not just for my own life, but also love, cherish, and care for the lives of other people. And so I promised myself that I will find this equation for success. And why? So people will be able to exercise these rights, to life, liberty, and the pursuit of their own destiny. And several months later, I succeeded to do that, but I was afraid to show it to people. I was too young. That was 10 years ago. And I knew that I have to keep that aside. But now, 10 years later, exactly on 1/1/2011, we launched the campaign, and so that's really what made me, march and stand up for my own beliefs. Is again when a tragedy slapped me in the face and told me to wake up. So so I believe that what really inspired me to stand up and march for my own life.
And there does, as you mentioned, seem to be an interest in this, whether it is The Secret or the Da Vinci Code or something. There is kind of a public interest, it seems.
Yeah, you're right. That's true. You see people today, they always like a magnet. Their heart is very much like a magnet, draws them to great books like The Secret or other spiritual books, and to really find the truth. What is the truth today? What is the thing that can really transform my mind? And I believe the equation can give people three things. One is enlightenment, an evolution of energy. Second thing is fundamental understanding, as you said, about the flow of energy in the universe. And the last thing is the ability to transform, to transcend beyond our current consciousness. These are the main three things.
Well, thank you very much, James. I'm sorry we're out of time, but
No problem.
I appreciate your being here today. Good
Thank
luck
you
with the
very much.
project.
Thank you very much, Greg.
Post on how it goes. And
I will.
I would also like to thank Nicholas, Tana, and Jem. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you next time.